4 of those losses by over 2 touchdowns. They're getting now drilled at home by average Power 5 conference teams. One of their wins is over Appalachian State. They're a shadow. They're not even in the same ballpark now as Michigan State. They're not even in the same class as Michigan State. Football is a quarterback and a coaching sport. Great guy, not going to work. We know Jim Harbaugh fights with the general manager in San Francisco. But you don't, once you've had success in the NFL, go back to college. It just doesn't work that way. Nick Saban, star in college, goes to NFL, struggles, goes back to college. Al Groh struggles in the NFL, goes to college. Pete Carroll's not going back to college. Jim Harbaugh's not going back to college. If he gets canned in San Francisco, remember the Peyton Manning tour they had? When Peyton basically, you send the private jet, I'll fly to your team. Harbaugh will have that. There'll be 7 owners in this league, blank check it. They got a new TV deal. They'll pay him $10 million a year. He'll go anywhere in the league he wants. Anywhere in the league he wants. Michigan in 1988 was a great job. In 98, it was a pretty good job. 2014, I don't think it qualifies as a, quote, great job. I think it's a really good job with a heck of a lot of tradition. But all these northern powers, especially in the Big Ten, Notre Dame, it's not the same world now. It's not. Penn State, Michigan, Washington, Nebraska, Notre Dame, dominant powers in the 80s and 90s, all aren't anymore. The world's changed. And I don't see Jim Harbaugh going back to college. Well, he'll get a blank check. Texas offered him a blank check. A school where you can literally throw a rock out the coach's window and get 25 great high school All-Americans passed. USC, as I told you then, called him. He was really USC's first choice. USC called and said, they went through channels. Would Jim be interested? USC, you can win national titles. You can dominate there. He's not going back to college. I don't buy it at all. There's a ton of rumors. I've been hearing this for 2 years. I know he's a Michigan guy, and I think he would do well. Why would he not take an NFL gig? First of all, if he goes back to college, it is to some degree acknowledging that he failed in the NFL. He has not failed in the NFL. Secondarily, of the 6 or 7 teams in the National Football League that would offer him a job, at least 1 or 2 would have a quarterback. Because Harbaugh's a quarterback guy. Had Andrew Luck in college. There's only about 5 teams in this league that are a mess at quarterback. He would get one of these young teams with a quarterback. He would also be able to negotiate a situation where he had value or say on personnel. So he's not going to college. I think Michigan would be the choice, but I don't buy it. He turned down Texas, not interested in USC. He likes the NFL. And you know what? I'm not so sure that if he left the NFL and there was not a great NFL opening, if David Shaw left Stanford, he's the kind of guy that would go back to Stanford for a year because he likes Stanford. And he'd go coach for a year in the interim while they look for somebody else. That's not that far-fetched. Steve Mariucci coached at Stanford for a year. If David Shaw ever left Stanford, I don't think he will, but if he ever left Stanford, the NFL's dying to get Shaw out of college and into the NFL. Harbaugh'd say, all right, they just canned me. I'll come down for a year interim. Jim Harbaugh's got more than enough money. He's on the fast track to good stuff. You're listening to The Herd on ESPN.